Hello friends, let's take a look at Ethereum together. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you can see here in the background, we've got the 4-hour chart open and we're inside this purple parallel channel that's kind of sloping at a much less aggressively upward angle than the one that we were in previously for the days prior. Of course, as you can see, we were snaking inside and outside of it, but generally that was kind of showing us the roadmap for going forward. Now, are we going to continue this towards its upside with just, a less severe slope up the way? Will we suddenly get some volatility return back to us and see us come back up towards this yellow parallel triangle channel area that we're at before? Just kind of thinking of this as being a zone, or are we going to see the prices kind of slope down the way? Excuse me. Let's take a look. So in the 4-hour time frame, staying above the 21 would obviously be quite important. That's currently coming in there at 392. What else is in it around about this area? Of course, if I go up the time frames, where is it showing in at? Is it not showing us up? I thought there was a... Oh yeah, it's over on this chart. Sorry. Is we also have this 236 coming in here at 390 that we're currently above on terms of the big bullish picture. So saying big boola and looking towards targets such as 900, 750 and 586, those three sort of targets there, then you want to see the prices stay above 390. And then just looking down towards the small time frames and where the 21 EMA is coming in at just at around about where that line is currently as well. And also this particular parallel channel, is that been, or not parallel channel, gosh, triangle this time. Weird. Has that been broken towards the downside? Are we going to see this downward move play out then? If that's the case, if there's going to be, this is an ascending triangle. Cheapers. Are we going to see this play out with a downward move, given that we've kind of come outside of it towards the lower end, or indeed is this just sort of shaped wrongly overall? And was it perhaps actually the symmetrical triangle that we also considered that it could be? And have we got some time to go yet on this one? Well, a number of different ways of looking at it. But overall, it doesn't really particularly matter. I'm going to get rid of both of those things because overall, what we're looking to really is just the key areas of the horizontal supports and resistances that we've experienced in the past in and around these areas. There's very little volume on this thing. There's very little time spent trading up in this area. Really ever when we've come up towards these peaky zones. So if we were to drop back down again, would we stay above our prior highs in there at 365, or I'll stick a horizontal ray at just for the crack, just to be different. So let's sort of get it roughly there. Okay, will we stay above that area? And then looking further left. Will we manage to break up above these areas? That's the sort of the two sides of this particular coin that we're really looking at the minute. So let's just look and see. We've got the 433 area, and also what do we have really? This zone here, just here at 400. Do you want to call it 400 as well, with that psychological round number? I think it's probably wise enough to consider 400 or so to be a number as well. So just let's go back over to the current price action then to see how all that lines up in terms of the significant areas in the past. I know there's a lot of noise on here when you look at these different channels, but just, forget it. It's all good. Then what are we looking at here then? Of course, if this is the current range for us just between these two areas, then 400 being towards the top side and 367 is, or just call it 370 or so, as being the lower side here, where we have this 236 on this particular Fibonacci on this time frame, which is drawn in just so that from the lows. Jeepers, that's a mess. That is a mess. Hey pal. He was a good friend of ours for quite a while, by the way. If you're just new to the show, this guy was a good friend of ours. Where did I draw that in from? Here, I think. Yeah, just here. Down here in the lows of 27th of June, up to the most recent highs that we've had there at $418 or so. So the 236 on that particular Fibonacci comes in there at 369, 370, call it, just the 370 area. So this is kind of what I'd be looking at, really, 370. Maybe that's where that kind of could be at as well. Our previous highs that we had that were above currently, so that's bullish, in terms of the big broad time frame. Let's just go up to the weekly so you can see what I mean a bit clearer. In fact, so this is where the previous high was there with that wick. We've come down and we've not taken out that wick again, and that's good and everything, and we're staying above the 236. So you see what I'm saying there? That's the lower side area upper side area really actually is around about that 400 in terms of not being too greedy about things, but we do know that we've had wicks coming up towards, you know, areas up above that, and that of course we could see that from a broader term perspective, that the upper side resistance really currently is going to be around about 433. If you're sort of playing support and resistance between these different areas, that's perhaps where you might want to look to overall, you know, and that's going to really kind of do it for us for today. If you want to look back in time, you'll see a lot of good information in the previous episodes. In this upward rise up, you know, we don't have any sort of local lows currently in the weekly time frame to look for divergence or anything else. You know, currently, just if we were to close out here, would it be divergent? Well, on the RSI, it wouldn't be. In terms of the stochastics, we've still not actually got up quite high enough to say that it isn't. In terms of the DMI, it's convergent, so you know, no bearish divergence there on that one, and the MACD also. So you can say then when it comes to these 3 out of 4 there in terms of oscillators, pretty good in terms of the weekly time frame coming up so far without any sort of divergence. So that's all healthy, but there could of course be a big pullback at some point. We know that there always could be, and if that were to happen, then we have these targets towards the downside. I would say that the 618 golden pocket zone on this particular Fibonacci would be the sort of the key area to look out for in around about that 280 or so area, sort of 280 to 300 really, if you want to be a bit broader on it than just, you know, being like that, so we don't have to be so strict about things. Looking down the time frames, this again, you know, it's just this consolidation period. Sure, these things are kind of cooling off quite a bit, but we're managing to stay above the 21 EMA. We're managing to stay within our parallel channel. If we cool off some more, then we know where we could be headed quite clearly. If we find our feet again, for instance, the RSI managing to stay above this neutral line here, and us to stay within the sort of neutral zone on this, yada 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 yada, then perhaps we'll go towards the top side. We can see the ADX here as well. It's just gone down below 20 there, and it's sort of cooled off. You know, everything's kind of cooled off at the minute, so we're just waiting to see how things pan out. Of course, the volume's also very much cooled off. Maybe Ethereum's done with its sort of leading the market phase at the minute and is handed the baton over to Bitcoin, as we've seen they've sort of gone between each other recently, and one's led the other, or this is early signs of perhaps, you know, momentum fading off. But we are coming into the weekend just now, and seeing this sort of hesitation in the face of big resistance, you know, is natural. Taking some time here to allow these things to cool off does allow for the trend to go stronger and harder towards the top side. You know, for instance, simple little things like how you're making comparisons between on the RSI, for instance, in terms of divergence by looking, and the stochastic, you know, the way these things are calculated down below, where you look at the highs and lows and things like that during and the closes and everything else. Well, we've now moved to the point where we can kind of have moved far enough past this zone of volatility that it doesn't really necessarily take part of the calculation. So this broader movement up the way has then been replaced by more sort of confined movement within an area there, as you can see, you know, that going a little bit more sideways, and we've given it enough time to kind of let things cool off a little bit. So if we did find support there at 390 and manage to stay above the 236 over here that we have, then we could remain quite bullish on this asset, and movements down below that area could see us kind of becoming a little bit more sort of jaded and faded, right? But if we do then move towards the top side, then early targets $400 and $415 would be your two sort of earlier targets really overall on that one. I'm not a financial advisor, but that's what we're looking at right now. The broader picture, the narrower picture, questions about about how these, whether or not we'd see the divergence, etc., coming in or not. I think that's pretty good. We've looked at where the EMAs are, etc. A lot of value to be had in this episode as far as I'm aware. Let me know if there's something missing from it that you would like to see. Otherwise, hit that subscribe button, because I'm sure you're getting some sort of value from it. I always take the feedback. I like that very much. And you can go and see me in the Discord as well and talk with a lot of like-minded people. We've had people coming along recently talking about how great it is in there. So, and that, you know, we're the best, and we've had letters of recommendation from very famous, wonderful people such as Donald Trump and Barack Obama. So you know that there's something for everyone in there in that group. So I'd definitely check it out. Thanks very much. My name's been Rocky Outcrop. It'll still be Rocky Outcrop tomorrow when I come back with another one of these things. No, not tomorrow. On Monday, because I'll be taking the weekend off. Catch you later.